Welcome to UVTV, motherfucker. I had to kick spiritual ass and do this for my people. On God. Neon niggas for Featherman. Yeah, and today I'm going to be talking about what is the Illuminati doing in actuality, and they are basically the illuminated people who need illusions to be enlightened in the first place. Now, when it comes to the Illuminati in general, right, they call themselves the enlightened ones for the most part, right? So they the most people with the most insight, with the most spiritual perspective and stuff like that. The most overall, from a what I'm saying, like the most overall, the most in totality of knowledge, wisdom, and stuff like that. And a lot of people in general, when it comes to what the fuck they be talking about and what the fuck they be into and stuff like that, right? When it comes to being like the shadow government and shit like that, or how motherfuckers be throwing like how like kind of like with conspiracy theories and things of that nature, right? About like, oh, they're controlling the world, new world order, aristocracy and stuff like that. So people of the upper class, elitism and stuff like that, but they're only an elite based upon the external energies and stuff like that. So they like to do these energies behind closed doors based upon elitism and aristocrats and them being billionaires and stuff like that, and colonization and capitalization, and it started in Germany and Europe, and them being these part of this system hierarchy and stuff like that. And then from an overall perspective, the same way how we look at the solar system, and they want to be the walking suns, like the Masons. So you know what I'm saying? They trying to be the walking suns, and we want to follow them and their light and their star representation, and for them to be center stage into their imagination, into their worldview, into their simulation. You know what I'm saying? Like their outlooks of how they look at the world and stuff like that, and their programs and the new world order and stuff like that, right? So for the most part, right, we already know these things was based upon like Freemasonry and stuff like that, because Illuminati started um based upon like the initiation and the rite of passage when it comes to Freemasonry. And Freemasonry is just fraternal organization. It's a fraternal organization. So from it being a fraternal organization, is like how you be looking at universities and stuff like that, right? These are based upon their methodologies and stuff like that. It's based upon their institution, so being institutionalized. So you being indoctrinated into their worldview, into their books, into their way of how they look in the world and stuff like that. Their universities, how they look at the overall universe and stuff like that. Look at you know what I'm saying. So they have a schooling, university, and curriculum of what they want you to pay attention to, all the way down to Christianity and like Catholicism and all these different denominations when it comes to the Abrahamic God and stuff like that, of how they want you to look at the world and their version of God. But like I always be saying, they'll be looking at God like a deity, and only a deity like being called God and stuff like that. Because the overall God don't give a fuck about that name. They don't give a fuck about that version or that illusion of what looked like power in the physical. The overall God is going to be caring about the overall creation and the overall observations and the overall, you know what I'm saying, like the space of it, the creation of it, the cultivation of it. And from us being sentient, we have the ability to do that as well and stuff like that. So the things they be talking about of, oh, they're like the shadow government, aka some type of government mentality, judgment mentality, ruling mentality. They want to have power control over this world, aka the physical in some way, shape, and form. You're not extending that outwardly. Now you could look at that as like supremacy, or you know what I'm saying, something that's broader than you, but they're only that in the physical. That don't mean you ain't gonna be able to have that same power, because at the end of the day, it's just humans coming up with their own thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions, and visions, and the way they want to run the world and stuff like that, and how they look at the world. And they just got put into a position based upon colonization and capitalization, to why they feel like, oh, okay, all the way down to the goddamn like the organizations and the military, and them trying to be like the global police and stuff like that, or the goddamn galactic federation and shit like that. The military is just the galactic, or the like the military is basically like the global police for the most part. And them having like a shoe in with how they want to dictate the world in some way, shape, and form. They think, oh, if I'm able to do that in a physical, right, that means like when I go to heaven, or in the spiritual, that means I'm more important. When it's really in reverse. A lot of shit just be in reverse. So look at that like, oh, you could have $1 million, but you could die right now. You can't take that $1 million with you when, you know what I'm saying, you leave this body and your spirit goes into the ethers and stuff like that. I'm just using like allegories and metaphors of how people would look at it and stuff like that. You can't take none of those things with you. So just because you have all that luxury and that leisure in the physical, that don't mean God gonna give a fuck about that. You know what I'm saying? The overall God gonna look at the intention and what you created for yourself, and that go beyond the body that you was in, aka your light body, and the physical body you was in, aka the physical world, in some shape and form. He don't give a fuck about that. He's gonna be giving about your spirit, or what you cultivated for yourself, or what you created, or the space you was in. The space you was in is gonna matter more. And your spirit, aka your space, like to make shapes and forms. It like to make bodies. It like to make lights. It like to make illusion. It like to make thoughts. It like to make you know what I'm saying? It likes to go into a shape and form. So from it emanating and creating a shape and form, it creates your first body, your mind, and then your first body, your mind, is just gonna create your physical body, your organs, and you being a physical, and you being in a like in God's body, aka like you can actually live that out in the physical, and then Earth is a planet, a world, a sphere, the atmosphere of, you know what I'm saying? You can actually walk around and facilitate these things. It's just people get lost into this illusion and the death portion when it comes to these different transitions and stuff like that. Niggas just get lost into the physical. Niggas just get lost into a memory. Niggas get, you know what I'm saying? Niggas get lost into one shape and form of what that looks like. So you really just get lost into worldly type things, and then you start projecting what like your mind is for the most part. You just start projecting what your mind is, and we all know in actuality you can't control someone's mind. Everyone has their own individual mind. It's not no one consciousness type thing. You know what I'm saying? We all gonna go into ether and all be that one being with God and shit like that. No, we all have a personal relationship with God. God is just all possibilities. We have a personal relationship with that. So we, based upon our comprehension and our awareness, we're gonna try to do that to our best of our abilities and things of that nature. So for the most part, yeah, like you can't control or force someone to think a certain way. That's what makes us individuals in the first place. That's what makes us has authenticity in the first place. That's what makes us sentient in the first place. And then we expand and contract, go through different bodies and vessels and stuff like that, all the way down to bacteria, bugs, plants, animals, all the way down to what we are right now, taking these human vessels until we, you know what I'm saying, come together as humanity and be one of a kind, so we can expand past this human consciousness in this human mind, so we can be even broader and more supreme than that. Because spirituality in general is just believing in something that's greater than you, looking at God not like a deity, looking at it like all possibilities, and we're going to make it possible to make it so one day we could be living in existence in general. That's something broader than what we in right now in this type of body, in this vessel and stuff like that. So the more you try to go through the ups and downs and try to think that more broad and that more far out, all the way down to visions and creativity, and then try to make it make sense between the left and right brain, the left brain being the logic and rationality, and like like the logic and rationality and the methodology and the science and the study, and then the right brain being like the creativity or the imagination and the emotion, you know what I'm saying? And like the left brain will be like more like, you know what I'm saying, like your thinking patterns and like your thought forms, and then the right brain will be more about your emotions and feelings. And then the more you're able to Venn diagram combine these two things between the divine masculine, divine feminine, aka able to externalize these things and internalize these things in the right perspective, right, from a natural state of being, a natural organic type of way, and you have, you know what I'm saying, you just add more powers and abilities that you're able to do and actually willing to exist it. So the more you're able to creatively find your own way of doing it, when, like, you know what I'm saying, like the more you try to create your own way of how to do about something and create your own ability and stuff like that, and your own emanation without having to rely too much on external factors for the most part, right, it's just gonna make you be in a certain bag that only you can do, because no one else can be you, nigga. So from you being you and you being more broad and stuff like that, you're able to access certain downloads or information that's that some people just gonna look at as like, oh, we need to follow this. Oh, this nigga know how to lead. Oh, this nigga is like a prophet or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm using terminologies that people be talking about, and for the most part, oh, someone's more redeemed, someone's more spiritual, someone's more angelic, someone's more saved. Oh, this motherfucker, a philosopher. This motherfucker has a way of life that we ain't never seen before. This like a one-on-one type of nigga and stuff like that. The more you be in that, that's what it. So I'm saying that to say, to build up to this main point. So the nigga who even founded Illuminati in the first place and stuff like that, German ass nigga, right, was initiating Freemasonry and stuff like that. And he was so anti-clergy, look at that as just going against the government and Catholicism and stuff like that. So the Catholic Church, when it comes to like traditional Christianity and stuff like that. So like their system, how they was running it when it was first starting to make that Abrahamic God and stuff like that, of them combining different spiritual systems. And before they started going, well, they already capitalizing and colonizing and Christopher Columbus type of shit for the most part. But based upon their religion, aka real religion, aka them taking a whole bunch of different spiritualities and combining them together so they can be the white face of what that is, right? Of what it means to go to heaven and spirituality, and them creating a space to where, oh, okay, when it comes to spirituality and goddamn spirituality and like out of body experiences, or like, you know what I'm saying, like creating like their own spiritual system, but using a whole bunch of different methodologies and different studies of studying other people's cultures to try to convince them to to look at them like, oh, okay, our God or our deity is more supreme than yours. But they're doing it from a Jehovah Witness, what they call that shit, Jehovah Witness, like Mormon type of perspective. So doing it by force. Oh, okay, we're gonna come to the door and make y'all look at it in this way. So Freemasonry is just a fraternal organization, secret society. You know what I'm saying? So they doing these things behind closed doors of how they want to run the world and stuff like that, and have a certain specific group of people. So this go back to what I was saying earlier with the elitism and the aristocrats and all that type shit, based upon the stonemasons, aka the freely formated Masons or the masculine sons. So them being the Masons, the sun pocket of goddamn Taurus, aka 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., right? They're trying to be the walking suns for the most part. So from them trying to be a walking suns in that pocket, that's the fixed earth pocket. And that's during the springtime. So they're trying to spring off and create and cultivate a fixated earth. So from it being fixed earth, it's fixated, adamant, and stubborn on earth-like qualities. What is that? That's like the physical reality of something, the value and appreciation of it, and planting those seeds when it comes to value systems, self-esteem, you know what I'm saying, growth, nourishment, grounding something, you know what I'm saying, like, and then it's based upon, like, Freemasonry is just where it got more freely formulated, instead of it being up a basically like stonemasonry is based upon like stonecraft. So from it being stonecraft and shit like that, right? Because I know you look when you start looking that shit up on Google and stuff like that, like Wikipedia is going to talk about agriculture and stuff like that, but they really talking about the original version of what that is traditionally, aka that's like the Knights Order, and those are like the first fraternal organizations that they was doing in Europe in like during medieval times and stuff like that, or what they call the old world and shit like that. I'm gonna get there. So like, you know, stonecraft when it comes to the creation of buildings and structures and sculpting using stone as a primary material, and stonemasonry is the craft of shaping and arranging these stones. So they look at these things like building blocks, but look at these building blocks the same way how you look at building blocks. You should not build and compartmentalize inside your head of how you want to structure the shit, put in a moderation, how you want to organize it, right? How you trying to initiate it, what type of stats you trying to create for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And building something brick by brick. So you're trying to make a resilient and sturdy mentality. So from them trying to from them taking those traditional ways from the knightly order and the old organization when it comes to medieval times and stuff like that, and stonemasonry, they made it more free flowing to make it so, okay, even if it's not motherfuckers who part of the knightly order or from Europe or our ways was doing those things traditionally in our country and stuff like that, when we start taking over the world, we're going to freely form it to make it so, oh, anybody could be a part of this. So the same way how y'all be looking at the Jews, not the Jews being the original race or anything like that, right? It's a thing to where, oh, anybody could be a Jew. So look at that with the same thing with Freemasonry. It don't matter what ethnicity you is. Oh, you could be a Mason. A Mason is just a Mason. So from it being a Mason, you trying to be a masculine version of the sun. You trying to be the external walking emanation of what that is in the physical. In some way, shape, or form, that's what they trying to do. So based upon their symbolism, based upon their allegories, based upon their way of looking at the world when it comes to like their books and stuff like that, and their goddamn like their philosophy and their university and their schooling, and the more and more you get initiated and stuff like that, right? It's just crafting into, oh, this is just how we run the physical world and stuff like that. Now some people may not understand that and how deep that rabbit hole go and shit like that, and you know what I'm saying? Like that like at this point in modern times in the 21st century and stuff like that, right? It's like gotten so watered down, and now it's kind of like a nepotism thing. But this is just the original starting point and a surface level explanation of what the fuck they really doing. So from them making, you know what I'm saying? From them masterminding events and planting agents and working with different governments and organizations in order to gain some type of political power or influence and establish a new world order, right? It's just from them taking their agents, look at that as them placing agendas. Look at that like the same way how y'all be talking about, oh, the government corrupt because this, that, and the third. No, they know what the fuck they doing. For the most part, it's not no shit where it's like, oh yeah, it's a specific amount of people who corrupt and shit like that, and it's like the shadow government because of this, that, and the third. Like, yeah, like you can look at it like, oh, it's motherfuckers behind closed doors who's pulling things who we don't know who the fuck they is. So look at that like the Illuminati and stuff like that, right? Oh, these niggas pulling the strings, but we ain't gonna see these niggas every day as public figures in the political field, like goddamn Trump or like Kamala or Charlie Kirk or some shit. Like we not gonna see them, right? So they're in the dark, but we're aware of who the fuck they is though. You know what I'm saying? Like we know this niggas behind closed doors based upon like the constitution, based upon the Constitution and stuff like that, who run shit that make it what it is today. So it's like, yeah, it's them placing handlers, it's them making agendas, it's them making narratives, it's them making observable events, it's them making propaganda, it's them making a manuscript. They have a blueprint. It's a Monopoly game. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like different magic squares of program of how they want niggas to think in certain areas and certain locations and certain like it's the same way how y'all be talking about Reaganism and oh yeah, this nigga put crack in pharmaceutical drugs in poor white neighborhoods, aka in low income communities, aka the common man, the common folk, and stuff like that, right? And they purposely place those things in those type of communities so motherfuckers start black on black crime and motherfuckers be crippled and motherfuckers start finding each other and stuff like that, all the way down to what they be doing in the black community and stuff like that. If you want to make it like mad simple, I'm making like real, like, you know what I'm saying, like surface level examples, but that's basically what it is in a nutshell. So from them thinking in this mentality, aka the government mentality, they like to govern shit. So based upon their ancestors, all the way down to spiritual and stuff like that, right? If you meet a motherfucker who look at that like, oh, I want to have that as my job, and I'm trying to be at the high class in some way, shape, or form, or some type of elitism, or I want to make $1 million, or I'm trying to be a part of these government corporations, all that type shit, or they start their own business and they trying to be like Elon Musk or goddamn Jeff Bezos. That lets you know, like, ancestral wise, when it comes to a spiritual family, they are part of that lineage of people who like to, you know what I'm saying? They like being in that space. They like, you know what I'm saying? They like controlling the world in some way, shape, or form. I'm not even trying to make it a thing where it's like, oh, that's good or bad for the most part, but the government in general, right? Motherfuckers who want to be a part of the government in some way, shape, or form, or want to be a part of politics and stuff like that, that's part of some type of ancestral spiritual lineage. So based upon who you was in a previous lifetime or the type of spirits you like to interact with, look at that as different people who think the same way how you think. You know what I'm saying? Like your culture or your people, beyond just ethnicity and stuff like that. Oh, okay, y'all all in that same mentality, that first body, y'all all in the same mind, that same thought. Oh, y'all like to govern and judge other motherfuckers and like to rule over people in the physical. Like it can trickle down all the way to the physical, but you just have a manipulative type of mind. Not manipulative like in a bad way, but you like making up alternative motives to make niggas motivated and craft certain systems and programs to make people motherfuckers think a certain way because you like being part of the Constitution in some way, shape, or form. You like governing and ruling over people in some way, shape, or form. And you want to be a part of that lineage of people who write that shit down, all the way down to lords and stuff like that, and like the different laws and stuff like that. Like you like making different rights and privileges. You like, you know what I'm saying? Like you like being privileged. You like other motherfuckers being other what you wrote. So look at that like authorship. Look at that as, oh, you like to do that on an extreme level, basically. It doesn't got to be really extreme, but like, I'm just trying to make it simple. Like the government in general and stuff like that, right? Or the shadow government, they just do that on extreme levels. Okay, they only do that in the physical. But in general, oh, you like to have intellectual property over shit. And you like to do that so much. You get so gassed up by doing that so much, it just turned into the physical of how we look at the government today and stuff like that. So anything when y'all be talking about the influence when it comes to establishing some type of new world order, aka, oh, that's impending, oh, they're trying to do that. Nigga, we're in the new world now. We're in that organization now. We're in that order now. You know what I'm saying? We're in that law now. We in that constitution now. We in that legislation now. We have that we're in that program, that illusion now, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like how you be looking at history and stuff like that, and they start talking about Christopher Columbus, and oh, they went to the goddamn the New World. The New World was the Americas, aka where the Native Americans and their culture, what the fuck they was doing, and because they was spiritual and they was so spiritual to the point to where they was able to cultivate and create a lot of things in the physical, and they wanted to be a part of that in some shape or form. So they always had a thing of going against those type of people. And that's why they needed other ethnicities like Buffalo Soldiers and Asians and stuff like that to help fight them in their wars so they could take over this land so they can do what they did all the way up to what the fuck they did now. So colonization and capitalization. Capitalism. Capitalism is a derivative version of what colonization is. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? It's got more derivative and gentrified and like watered down now to where they don't gotta be on some join or die martial law type shit. So there's like they're their descendants, right, from what they did, right, they're just living in luxury of that for the most part. So that whole New World Order, that was my main point. Like that whole New World Order shit, yeah. The old world was what the fuck they was doing in Asia and Europe and stuff like that, specifically Europe, because they was fighting a whole bunch of different wars, First Revolution and stuff like that, the Enlightenment era and stuff like that, the Scientific Revolution. That's a whole different video though. But like, y'all get what I'm saying? They looked at that like the old world and they went to the New World, and the New World Order was them taking over just Native Americans. So it's just like in their spiritual system and their cultures, so they could cosplay it and they could be the white face of that in the physical. Keyword, just in the physical. You're only that in the physical. You're not that in the metaphysical. You're not that spiritually, for real. Because their way of looking at God or even spiritual shit in general is them looking at it in a physical, material type way. So you're only supreme based upon your white supremacy and stuff like that in the physical. That constitution, that government system and stuff like that, that only work if you make people believe it, which is why they make up different religion, entertainment, politics, I'm missing like two more: politics, entertainment, religion, education, I'm missing one more, bro. I can't even think of it right now. I'm missing one more, but you get what I'm saying. They put those different programs out to make it so, okay, we're gonna make a version of that, but we're gonna make it so you have to be a part of our industries to even do that. So look at that when it comes to the music industry and stuff like that. The main big three when it comes to major corporations is UMG, Universal Music Group, Sony, Entertainment, and Warner Bros. And stuff like that. And a lot of that started in the 1940s to the 1960s, and when they started to invest all these things, and all that is just owned by a whole bunch of corporate white people in suits and ties and Jews and shit like that. Like, it's not no crazy shit. We see that in reality. Like we literally see that with Leo Conan and all that type of shit. We see that in reality. That and like Elliot Graves and shit like that. We see that in reality. That's what they're doing. So it's like, yeah, oh, you want to be an actor? Oh, okay, we have a certain organization for that shit. Oh, you want to be a comedian? Okay, we got an industry for that. Oh, you want to be a musician? Okay, we got an industry for that. Oh, you want to be a politician? Oh, we got an industry for that. Oh, you trying to be an educator or something before? Oh, we got universities for that. We got an industry for that. We got a, you know what I'm saying? Like public, private school, all that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like we have a thing for that. That New World Order and shit like that. It's not no thing where it's like, oh, okay, they're trying to do that to us right now. No, they're just trying to maintain what they already did. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not no new shit. Like, oh, we're in that order right now. Like, they did this shit hundreds of years ago and shit like that when they started doing capitalization and colonization and stuff like that. Well, colonization and then turning into capitalism and stuff like that. Like, we in that now, nigga. We in that now. And never like, yeah, they still is ongoing. It's still fresh. It's still like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they still trying to feed into that mind state. So they need y'all to believe that. So that's why they make up a whole bunch of different magic squares and programs to make y'all be into that illusion of, oh, this is how you're supposed to look at the world. Oh, this is our holy book. Oh, we want you to read this doctrine. We want you to get indoctrinated into this frame of thinking. We don't want you to be in your right brain to create your own way of doing it. No, we want you to get lost into this one, and you're only going to get lost into our logic and our rationality and our left brain thinking and terminology and words and stuff like that, instead of you making up your own language or your own words or your own creative way of how to look at the world or your own awareness and your own natural way of how you look at it from your authentic point of view. And then the minute you start doing that too much, we gonna throw sides on your ass. The minute you start saying too much and shit like that, we gonna make it seem like you crazy. We gonna make it look like you fucking Alex Jones or some shit, like some conspiracy theories, or you just talking out, like, you know, you just talking outside your mouth or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like they don't even like individuals who do that. They want you to be smart but be dumb at the same time. They want you to be smart in certain areas but dumb to the fact, oh, they programming you. You get what I'm saying? Like, they don't really want you to think for yourself. And that's literally what I'm saying. That's why it's so important to think in your own way, and it goes so deep. Yeah, like, I mean that shit when I be like, oh, I'm doing this for my people and stuff like that. And I have my own way of looking at it because I'm not in their program. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to survive and shit like that. That's why they cripple motherfuckers so hard, because they put motherfuckers in fight or flight survival mode and stuff like that, so they ain't gonna know no better. So they don't have no better way of having a better culture and a better way of living life and stuff like that and doing something for the people. And the more you do shit for the people, the more they kind of just gonna keep on fucking with you. They watch you though. They gonna cosplay you and shit like that, but you never gonna be in their position. And so much shit before, they don't ever want you in their position. So that's why That's why they talk about it like that. Because a lot of these things, right? Like at one time, okay, yeah, there was the Enlightened ones and stuff like that, and they know things that's going on in the world. But and you know what I'm saying? They was like in the dark. But now those things that they look at as them being enlightened is really just them being illuminated. AKA, they have to create an illusion or create some type of um, you know what I'm saying? So some type of thing to put in the front or make people be like voodoo dolls all the way down to celebrities and stuff like that, or like what the fuck be going on in popular culture and stuff like that when it comes to like films, television, and video games and music videos and all that type shit. That's why they talk about it like that, because it's kind of like a lot of these people kind of like when y'all be talking about Jay-Z or Beyonce or like Oprah shit like that, or all these billionaires or like Rihanna and stuff like that. Half the time they don't even know what the fuck is going on. They just know, oh, I'm there for like a job, or they just there to be a celebrity. They just there to be a walking billboard. Basically, you just being like the face card, the facial representation that make people fuck with it. But before they was even famous, before they was a celebrity, before they was popular in a part of their system and popular culture and stuff like that, there was with the common man, there was with common folk and stuff like that, and then they was able to build up their own creativity and how they go about shit. But when they got signed for millions of dollars and stuff like that, okay, you signed under their intellectual property and stuff like that. You signed under their contract. Oh, you're gonna be their walking billboard. You ain't gonna have your own label and stuff like that. You're gonna be under their label, and you know what I'm saying, like in their advisory. You're gonna be under their management. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a part of their agenda. They're like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of time, these artists don't even know what the fuck be going on themselves. When they get more and more into that classism and stuff like that, they gonna probably get told a little bit more. But at the end of the day, you just a celebrity. You just a walking billboard. What the fuck they be trying to do? So yeah, it's kind of like especially if you African and shit like that, like African American and shit like that. That's why it be like high level cooning. You really do have to coon for them. You basically just cooning for a whole bunch of different white folks in suits and ties based upon what they establish in their system and stuff like that. You can't, like, you can be creative, but you can't go too far to where like you can't have your own way of looking at shit too much and stuff like that, or you going against about what the fuck they talking about. And then even if it's like on some Kanye shit to where it looked like it's anti, it's really not. They allowed that. You know what I'm saying? They permitted that celebrity to talk about it in that way, which is why they put it in popular culture and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they like the way y'all talk about it. They allow some of this information. They ain't gonna tell y'all the deep detail behind shit. You know what I'm saying? They just gonna give you like shit like to feed on because they've been there, did that. Like they already practiced that shit 50 years ago. So yeah, 50 years later, okay, yeah, we can tell them this little shit because we already did it already. So it's kind of like we already done moved on and made an advanced version of what the fuck that is. So it's like look at it like, oh, before we got Tesla trucks and shit like that, nigga, they done made that shit like 10 years ago. It's just the public, they just now got that technology or that information of, yeah. Well, I said Tesla trucks. I'm gonna say Cybertrucks, yeah, like it's kind of, we don't get that technology till later. So the same shit what they doing with robots and like AI and stuff like that, I'm highly sure they done already made some shit like our robot already. They already made like some type of like movable robot and shit like that that needs to be like that can be unplugged, that can move on its own and shit like that. But it's not no thing where it's more powerful than a human, and then robots about to take over and shit like that. No, they just working out the kinks, and then eventually they're gonna be able to sell that in every store. Type shit. The same way they're doing that with Cybertrucks and shit like that. The same way they're doing that with AI and Sora and shit like that. They already done did some shit like that. It's just some shit they doing behind closed doors, and they working out the kinks of making it available to the public, and someone should perform. Like that's it. That's all. It's just certain groups of people, they gonna get that shit first because they're part of the system. It's like aristocrats or elitism and stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of their lineage and their way of looking at the world and stuff like that, you gotta come. Like, you gotta be a part of their system, or some nepotism type thing, to where you just got born into that family this lifetime, right? Or like you got born like a Jewish motherfucker and stuff like that. So it's kind of like you're gonna know some of these things for the most part. Like, so it's like, yeah. So it's like, yeah, like, oh God, they got a book somewhere like in the Vatican where they talking about all this type shit. Jesuits, Pope, Masons, fucking like government officials and shit like that. And then look, I'm talking about the motherfuckers who we don't see like that, who we running shit. Like, yeah, the motherfuckers who we do see, they are part of the manuscript and the blueprint, but they just a part of popular culture and shit like that. The shit that's popping, aka the shit that's a popular culture, is really not that popping like that. It's just a surface level programs as representation of them being a walking emanation of a walking billboard of, you know what I'm saying, oh, you're gonna be a rock star, you're gonna be a superstar and stuff like that. No, you're just a star in their industry, in their world. That only works in their world. If you're around common folk, we don't give a fuck about that. And then now we kind of in a shift right now to where everything working in reverse. First it was just, oh, mainstream shit. So the stream of consciousness is being controlled, aka that's the main form of what the sentiment they want everyone to be a part of, and then it trickle down into the underground. Now it's starting to shift into a thing to where the underground or motherfuckers doing things in their own little city and their own little groups and their own little local communities and stuff like that, local arenas. It's starting to go the opposite direction, or like in reverse, or at least the way how they would look at it. Like, oh, we ain't giving a fuck about the mainstream. We doing our own thing on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, we doing something that the people like, and then the mainstream and their industry and their organizations, they have to cosplay us in so much shape or form, or they trying to sign us to a deal type shit. But a lot of us, especially when it comes to Gen Z, we starting to not even give a fuck about what the fuck they talking about. A lot of things that they doing in the dark is really coming to light now. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all ain't the enlightened ones like that no more. Or it's kind of like y'all gonna have to start making up some type of extreme type of narrative, or some extreme type of agenda, or some extreme propaganda, or extreme manuscript to make us like basically get up out our seat type shit. Because at this point, it's starting to turn into we not even getting up out our seat. We starting to not even give a fuck. We starting to make them get out their seat because they old as fuck, crusty and shit like that, and you just there because of nepotism. Like, you just there because of that. Like, we know why you actually there. We want actual real people, real genuine individuals. Oh, okay, when y'all be talking through filter systems. Y'all just talking that for a check or stuff like that. Y'all just there for, you know what I'm saying, like a narrative and stuff like that. We don't give a fuck about none of that. We want genuine people, genuine narratives, genuine shit that actually help everybody and stuff like that. It's starting to turn into, oh, okay, they just trying to cosplay us in some shape or form. Really, in reality, they always been doing that. They always needed actual genuine people to be celebrities and, you know what I'm saying, to play these positions that make people give a fuck about it. But now it's turning even more extreme to where it's kind of like y'all whole shit getting drained out. Like, it turns to a thing like, oh, y'all like really need us now. Like at first it was like kind of like during the 80s and shit like that. It was kind of like, oh, we was still buying into, oh, okay, we still kind of need them and their way of how to go about stuff to make us even get our one two together. Now it's starting to turn into, okay, we just self-sufficient. We really don't need these niggas like that for real. Or we ain't gonna give a fuck about it either. So it's like, yeah, man. So for the most part, yeah, like they need your attention to make it so that type of program, that type of agenda, that type of system is gonna keep running the way they want to run it and stuff like that. But if you just stop paying attention to it and stop making that world, that system center stage, and you just make your own system that's way more practical and creative and goes with your people and your mentality, because they like you can't force someone to think a certain way. So yeah, like y'all just gonna end up going with y'all people at that point. Oh, okay, we can agree to disagree. So it's not gonna be no thing as like influence, like literally, because it's like you can't make someone be in your fluid. So based upon you can't force someone to think how you want to think, you're just gonna go with people who think like you, your own culture, your own creativity, your own way of looking at the world, and then at that point, different territory is just gonna get established, and then there's a space for specifically that thing that you into. So it's not gonna be no thing to where, oh, some fascist one world government type of way where, oh, okay, we all in this one mind and we all gonna think like you can't make billions of people all thinking the same type of mind frame. It don't fucking work like that. Like, God don't even look at the world like that in general. God wants you, aka all possibilities, want to make it possible to where it's possible to create your own lifestyle, your own life, your own way of creating, your own way of looking at the world for the most part. You can't create just one template of what the fuck that look like and shit like that. That's counterproductive. You're just gonna get lost in the pockets of hell. So at that point, yeah, like the minute you stop paying attention and making, you know what I'm saying? The minute you stop paying attention to how they want to make the stage and make their world center stage and shit like that, and you make your own stage, it's just gonna show their hand of their childish mindset of, oh, okay, like you ain't gonna give a fuck about their goddamn symbolism when it comes to the fucking degrees and walking up the staircase and shit like that, when it comes to Masonic symbolism and stuff like that, because it's just them trying to build on different degrees and shit like that, and different like ranks and different prestiges and statuses of how they want to fucking craft the world, and it's only gonna be based off of it's only gonna be based off of different templates of what they did when it comes to colonization than what it is today. Capitalizing off of something. Yeah, they just capitalizing off of shit. That's why they need celebrities to play out these mentalities. That's why they walking billboards. So it's like, yeah, if you just know how to be the walking star, and from you doing it yourself, and you creating and you having that ability, that power over yourself and your way when it comes to your insight and your visions and how you look at the shit, and make it so, oh, okay, I'm gonna just make a creative circumstance to where I don't need that. God or all possibilities is just gonna work through you, and then you start seeing through that illusion, because they need other people to even believe into that in the first place so they can keep that shit running. I'm not trying to say we can't have no system. I'm just saying when it comes to their system, what they do in the actuality, that's all they doing. You just created an illusion that looks like God or some type of enlightenment or what it means to be when it comes to elitism and how to be the highest in the world and shit like that. When y'all motherfuckers still humans at the end of the day, anything you doing, I can also do, nigga. Y'all just don't want us to have that power to do that in the physical in some shape or form, and then it's gonna start turning into, oh, we just gonna make up a whole bunch of different sobs and make you look like you crazy or some shit, or making it look like, making it look like you can accomplish that dream and stuff like that because it got to be the American dream or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like yeah, it's literally just that. It's literally just that. And then if it get really strange, they probably just gonna kill your ass and shit like that. But who gonna be in a better perspective when y'all die? All y'all did was trying to block another motherfucker of having that free will, literally free will to think how they want to think. So what's gonna win? Free will or Freemasonry? Tell me right now, who's gonna win that battle? Free will or Freemasonry? I want to go with that free will because even if I'm dead and shit like that, and you killed my first and second body, aka my goddamn mind and my physical body and shit like that, nigga, I'm gonna just come back more creative. I'm gonna just come back trying to actualize that potential because all you did was just kill potential by self-projecting, by feeling like, oh, okay, I gotta kill this motherfucker, and you wasn't doing it from the intention of trying to protect yourself. No, you was doing it from the intention of, I want to have some type of alternative mode. I want to get over on the motherfucker because I want more power control. Nigga, you just some hater ass bitch ass nigga. Shut your ass up. So what's gonna win, nigga? Free will or Freemasonry? I'm gonna go with that free will. I want to craft my own way of how to look at the world and shit like that. And I ain't even going for that shit. I ain't going, nigga. I ain't going for that agenda. I ain't going for that handler. I ain't going for that narrative. I ain't going for that observable event. Nigga, I'll make my own blueprint. Yeah, y'all making a fucking manuscript. You need men and women, masculine, feminine, and shit like that to even give a fuck about what the fuck y'all scripting, what y'all crafting, what shit y'all trying to make brick by brick. Nigga, y'all brick rock stars in the mind and shit like that. You is not no star, nigga. Your only star is being a walking emanation of a celestial body when it comes to a rock. A rock being hard and you going hard about the physical. Nigga, you ain't shit. You get all that money and all that material shit and get taken away. You ain't gonna know what to do and shit like that.